I haven't like interacted with a kid in ages. When I think of a 5-year-old, I think of something like pigeon-sized. I'm just imagining like a 6-inch tall little dude with like a fat face standing in the shower and like dying. Um, that's probably not right. I don't know. What about communal showers? Well, that's like a different thing, right? Like the Japanese have communal showers. But in Japanese communal shower, you don't in Japan, you don't shower communally to get clean. You bathe to get clean. No, 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 wait, sorry. No, it's the other way. You shower to get clean and then you go in the baths to chill, I think. I never went into any of the baths when I was in Japan. Dude, I should have done that. I should have gone I should have gone into the Japanese bathhouses and been like a giant American guy. There would have been all these like Japanese guys, and they would have been like, "Whoa, senpai," because I would have been like larger than them in every dimension. Yeah, and way hairier too. No gaijin allowed in places like that. Yeah, as a gaijin, you actually have to defeat their bouncer in sumo before you're allowed to enter the bathhouses. It's sort of like a rite of passage. They still don't let you in if you have tattoos, even if you're a foreigner. Yeah, Japan is very anti-tattoo. They are crazy. I feel like in a lot of places in Japan, if two guys want to like cuddle and hold hands, they're fine, even though Japan's pretty homophobic. But if you have tattoos, man, they will not trust your ass. Is that a Yakuza related thing? Yeah. A lot of people think this is just an anime thing. Okay, you know how like in most of America, the organized crime that we deal with are basically just big corporations like lobbying to get the rules broken, but then they make the rule breaking legal, so it's fine. But if you go back to like the 19 like 10s or 20s or 30s, there were cities in America that were legitimately run by organized crime. Like, you know, go back to Al Capone or whatever, or like Prohibition era. You would find times where like actually, if you wanted to get something done in the city, you might have to go through the gangs. Uh, Japan was like that up through the 1980s. The Yakuza maintained their relevance and controlled significant parts of Japan up until a massive police crackdown. The Japanese government basically treated it like a covert war and just like burned the Yakuza out through the entire country. But up until like recent history, like one generation ago, the Yakuza were, and by Yakuza I mean actual like there were parts of town where in order to like have a business there would be a guy with the dragon tattoos who would show up in a dark suit and would like muscle you out, like literal fuck, like actual like Yakuza shit. Like that was a real thing, real mafia shit. Um, yeah, but it's not as much of a problem anymore. The Japanese government has, uh, you know, minimized that. I remember there was a YouTube video that I saw one time, which was like an interview with former Yakuza guys, like older dudes, like 60s, 70s, and they were being asked questions about the Yakuza series of games, you know, like Yakuza 0 and shit. And basically the whole video was these old guys who were like, we used to be that cool, but not anymore. And literally it was like, ah, yes, beating someone to death with a bicycle. That was fake. Oh, was that video fake? Nah, prove. I need to have that proven to me that that was fake. Either way, what I said about the Japanese in the 80s and the Yakuza or whatever, that is true. That is a real thing. Well, looks like I can't go to Japan anymore. Well, you can have tattoos there. They're just it's a strong cultural bias. Do you have any tattoos? No. Here's an interview about that exactly. Yakuza 3 reviewed by several months ago, I introduced you to Jake Adelstein, the fearless to a fault Jewish American reporter, spent 12 years as a crime beat reporter in Japan, wrote about it in Tokyo Vice. In Tokyo Vice, we meet Adelstein's arch nemesis, a former Yakuza boss named Tadamasa Goto. We also learn Adelstein has a hodgepodge of allies in the pervasive Japanese underworld. Yakuza boss. Well, this is very narrativized. Is this real? Okay, this spring, they released Yakuza 3. I asked the Yakuza to compare the game as they play it to their actual life experience Yakuza. Here are some highlights. I've never been to Okinawa, but Kabukicho is dead on. You mean the old Kabukicho? Governor Ishihara's totally ruined the place. It's like a ghost town. It's like going back in time. Coma Theater is there. Just imagine like old Yakuza bosses saying this. The pink salons, the Pronto coffee shops, the Shinjuku batting center, the love hotels. You got your salarymen in there, the delinquent schoolgirl and her sugar daddy, Chinese people, even those Nigerian touts. What's with all the gaijin in the area anyway? It used to be just Japanese, Koreans, and Chinese. Don't say gaijin, say Gaikokujin. It's more polite. Jake's a gaijin. Yeah, I forget sometimes. What's with all the Gaikukushin and Kawakicho anyway. Internationalization. The world's a smaller place. The Nigerians, they marry Japanese. Dude, this happened to me when I went to the red light district in my visit to Tokyo. The guys at the middle of the street who would yell at you and tell you to go f some chick in a nearby building, they were Nigerian, because Japanese are culturally very demure and very not yelly in public. I know that sounds racist, but it's a cultural thing. It's like, if you raise somebody in Japan, like on Japanese norms, and then tell them, hey, stand in the middle of the street and scream at foreigners and tell them to get pussy, they will not do it. Nigerians are not so culturally inclined, and they will absolutely do that. And did, at me, many times while I walked through the red light district. Thank you. The cops can't get rid of them, and they're good at steering customers into shady places. The young Japanese punks we hire, they give up. They don't browbeat drunks into bringing business to our establishments. They got no backbone. The Nigerians are aggressive. They make good touts. By the way, Adelstein, usually when we say gaijin, we mean non-Asian foreigners like you and the Nigerians, not the Chinese or Koreans. Yeah, Koreans are Chosenjin, not gaijin. If they had shabu, crystal meth, as a power-up item, that would be realistic. It is a Yakuza game. They have sake. Kiryu is an executive, right? We all know the guys at the top don't drink or do speed. Yeah, not anymore. Can you smoke in the game? I forget that should be a power-up. Cigarettes and shabu, crystal meth, should be in every Yakuza game. The corporate Yakuza guys get a thumbs up for realism. Nice suit, smart, financially savvy, obsessed with money, sneaky and conniving, ruthless. There are a lot of guys whom I feel like I know. The dialogue is right, too. They sound like Yakuza. Braggarts, bullies, and sweet talkers, I agree. It feels like I know the guys on the screen. Kiryu is the way Yakuza used to be. We kept the streets clean. People liked us. We didn't bother ordinary citizens. Don't trust him. He was a criminal. We respected our bosses. Now guys like that only exist in video games. I don't know any ex-Yakuza running orphanages. There was one a few years ago, a good guy. You sure it wasn't a tax shelter? Sure it was a tax shelter, but he ran it like a legitimate thing, you know? Okay. You should play the Yakuza games? Yeah, probably. Yeah, wild stuff. Wait, if this is the actual name of the former Yakuza boss, shouldn't I be able to Google what he looks like? Oh, shit. Yeah. Wait. Yes. Wow. Hello. Yeah, drippy to the end. You should join the Yakuza since you're so tall. I swear to God, the Yakuza were all over that red light district. I don't think they did anything. Like, I don't think they would beat you to death with a goddamn bicycle. But I mean, maybe they would. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, this is why there's a cultural bias against tattoos. It's because like tattoos, like it's like, oh, Yakuza, like, oh, you're a criminal, like yeah, you're dangerous, you know, like it's a whole thing. It's a whole initiation thing. Were the Yakuza like uniquely bad criminals, or were they standard organized crime? I don't know if there's like a standard organized crime. They were organized crime. I don't think they were. I think they were supposed to be relatively competently managed, in the sense that like they tried to integrate into society and operate as like a seamless business counterpart to legitimate industry, as opposed to like doing little wars and like trying to control territory directly or fighting openly with the police. They would try to bribe people, get their officials in power, bribe off politicians, all that crap, you know. Kind of hard to hide your Yakuza since they had the tattoos. So mafia, not cartel? Mafia, not cartel, yes. The reason Yakuza started getting tattoos is because Japan used to tattoo their criminals to indicate they'd committed a crime, so they just leaned into it. Damn, that's dope as f, dude. That's actually super cool. I mean, you know, like conceptually. So wait, is the reason why the Yakuza tattoos always seem to leave space in the middle, is that because of the way the robes would fall on them? Was the idea like if you had your kimono properly bundled or whatever, it would like hide them? Because there's a consistent like line down the middle here. Yeah? Yeah, so like you just better keep your kimono tight because it leans off like 1 inch and you're, yeah. Interesting. Okay, well, this has been an interesting divergence from whatever it was we were supposed to talk about. I thought you meant on the back. In the back, they fill in the back as they rise in the ranks. Damn.